Welcome back to Guild Wars 2. Today we'll be tackling Queensdale, or at least starting Queensdale. This is the human starting area, as you would probably guess, as I went on a bit of a long talk about humanity and the last human nation in all of Tyria. A couple of videos, actually. I'll also be doing this and getting as many scouts as possible.
The fields beyond Shaymore are Kryta's breadbasket. Since the centaur attack, citizens are trying to rebuild their lives. But it's tough with bandits and dangerous wildlife roaming the area. Don't wait for an invitation. Jump in and help them. This is a waypoint. Waypoints appear on your compass, which is in the lower right corner of your screen. You can also see them on the world map, which you can access by pressing M. Press M again to close the world map. To teleport to a waypoint, open your world map and click on the waypoint to which you want to travel. If you wish to improve your skills, watch for special challenges. They'll test and teach you.
Yep. There's actually another scout just down here, but he is for the level 5 quests, which we will also be getting to. But we'll be starting with the traditional helping the farmers and local agriculture.
Shaymore Garrison is all that stops the Centaur War from reaching Divinity's reach. We Seraph bleed and sweat every day to keep it that way. But the constant combat takes its toll. We're exhausted. At any moment, the Centaurs could gain the upper hand. Please, help us fight them.
While we're going to be surveying here, we're going to be noticing how much the centaurs really are a pain in the collective arse of humanity, and why humanity has not figured out any way to wipe them from the face of the Tyria, I've never figured out. But we will be seeing that as we get through here, once we get out of helping the farmers. Now, the quests in this area are actually fairly interesting ones, if you're willing to give them a shot. They're not all kill quests. Specifically in helping the farmers, very few of them can have any form of violence associated with them.
They'll keep coming, trust me.
Theoretically, you can perform most of these in a non-violent fashion. But we got interrupted with a dynamic event, which will complete this quest for us. Which is quite unfortunate. Basically just stop the bandits from lighting things on fire. Now you can also, by grabbing buckets, put out fires if the bandits happen to light any fires. Now you could also feed cows food and things like that. Talk to the cows. But we unfortunately didn't get to do any of that. Now this next one, because of my being over-leveled, I can two-shot any of the scale or the drakes, both of which you can kill to help complete this quest. And you can even find their eggs over here in the nests and just crush them. That is all contributes to completing the quest. Now the other thing you can do is these crawfish traps you can open, and there's hatchlings in them. Just kill them. Now that helps out the fishermen, because there's fewer scale and drake feeding on the fish. But we're over here by the earthen dam. I don't know what this dam is holding back in particular, but it is springing a couple of leaks, and being made of earth, obviously there's elementals lying around, because obviously they would do that. Elementals are attracted to earth, especially earth elementals, apparently. I'm not quite sure. I'm not an earth elemental expert, specifically as it relates to MMOs. But what you can do is there's these piles lying around of rocks, you can activate them, which brings a hatched small young elemental, and repair leaks in the dam, as well as kill large elementals. Or harpies, because harpies sometimes show up when there's dynamic events. But we have to help this guy over here in his orchard. This is a level 4 quest that you can have access to very early on. However, instead of being able to complete the quest as intended, which is killing of fruit bats and spiders, we're going to get another dynamic event shoved in the middle of it, which is collecting red apples, which means we get to smack trees with our sword. And obviously, sometimes spiders fall. And obviously the little spiders carry red apples. Shiny red apples, at that. Welcome. As always, drop them off. That'll help complete the quest. Sometimes when you smack the trees, they will just drop apples, as well as sticks. So that aids you in completing that. But once that is done, we have another farm to help, and this will be the last of the farms, if my memory serves me correctly, that we are going to be helping.
I am that.
But first, we have some bandits who thought that I would be easy pickings. They really need to start figuring out how well armed a person is. I mean, I'm walking around with this giant, huge, greatsword that looks like a leaf. You think they would be a little bit smarter than that. But we have to help this guy out here. His moas. You know, there's some moas hidden in the bushes. There's also bandits hidden in the bushes. I know we're gonna get to see a bandit. There's one. He came out from one of the bushes. So, bandits hide in the bushes. Moas hide in the bushes. Bandits have stolen some of the moa feed, some of its feed, and thus it's in their cave, which is directly in front of us. We can retrieve that, and we can also smash up bandit supplies, which are crates and barrels and things just lying around that have a health bar above them. They're not particularly tough, neither are the bandits, actually, for that matter. And there we go, we have done all of that. Just kill bandits until it's done, or hand in the feed. Now, continuing through their cave, we end up at this point, which is the fact that they have a legitimate house right next to the pump works that no one apparently knows the bandits live in. Despite the fact the bandits are up out front and all this, no one seems to notice. But yes, humanity is actually one of the few races, in fact, the only ones, that builds these massive pump works, these pump storages, to distribute their water. No, I don't know why, but humanity apparently is the only one. Now it's time to go help out that garrison. We've already talked to that guy, and he said this garrison over here is the only thing stopping the centaurs. This is true. In the humanity starting area, when you first begin a human character, you actually help hold off the centaurs. And it's actually quite dramatic and quite wonderful a thing to see. I would suggest it, but I wouldn't suggest it overplaying another one of the race's starting areas. Now, I was just looking back and seeing if there was anything I might have missed. The human starting area is actually fairly large and very, very spread out. In my opinion, one of the largest. Although that probably does say something that the Sylvaris is actually, I think, bigger. Now the quest takes place right out here and basically has you killing centaurs and collecting some relics that, you know, things have been lying around like swords and things like that. Old, dusty things that used to belong to the people that used to live out here, or the Seraph that have given their lives here. You know, do all that. And that's all the quest contains. Now I'm heading down this way to get this waypoint down here, but then we'll be cutting to the end of the quest. Now there is a Skritt population in the area. I'm not quite sure why there's a Skritt population, but we'll be doing a little bit of visiting to that. It's actually right to our northeast a little bit, but we might get to see them. But first, we're actually heading towards the next scout, who will tell us what to do, where to go, and how to do things.
This area supplies a lot of the materials for Divinity's Reach and Beetleton alike. There are many threats to the workers, and any damage to them or their livelihoods could impact the entire region. We could use some help to keep things running smoothly.
And now we're going to be actually visiting the Skritt population, which, unfortunately, this quest revolves around killing some Skritt or wasps. So it's really your choice. I mean, if you really don't want to hurt any Skritt, you don't have to. There's always another way around. Now, the Skritt in particular have accumulated these giant statues of shiny things. Just knock them over. You know, there's also some more Skritt in there you could kill. They do respawn at a fairly high rate, being based roughly on rats. They repopulate very quickly. But around the side of this mountain is where the actual person who wants this quest done is. And they're a lumber mill. And they're having problems with, as you would expect, wasps. But these are not ordinary wasps, you know. These things are about 3-foot wasps. Imagine getting stung by that. That would hurt. The other thing you can do to help is you'll find these planks of wood lying around. Turn them into the quest giver, and you'll get a little ping on your progress bar. It's just easier to kill wasps. It really, really is.
I'm full of adrenaline.
Now, like the scout said before, there's other things to do here. There's actually hunters who we are going to be helping out next. Now, we're actually not going to go straight for those hunters, because over here, there's a little bit of land that needs to be revealed yet. Once this spider gets out of my way. And it's that there's a lake there, apparently. And it actually looks pretty interesting. There are also apparently ethereal scale in the area, which I was not expecting. But let's go help out those hunters, shall we? Now over here, this quest can be very difficult if you're not used to fighting veteran enemies. Over here, there's boar everywhere. I mean, it's a good place to put a hunting lodge, I suppose. Some of the hunters need your help. Well, revive them, and you immediately tick off a veteran. These guys are moderately tough. I mean, if you have no idea what you're doing when it comes to fighting a veteran, you could be in big trouble. But as usual, I'm over-leveled to the point where a veteran is not really a problem. Even if they can smack me about. Now, the other thing you can do is that there are traps set around that have been sprung. Reset them, and you'll be fine. There's also a point of interest inside the lodge. Don't forget to get that. This guy raises moas.
I'm not sure about this.
He's quite proud of them. Good for him. Now up here we have a guy who's not used to fighting veterans. I mean, he handles himself pretty good, but he gets himself into a little bit of trouble, and I decided to help him out. It must be very hard playing a elementalist. Now we're going to be heading towards Beetleton, which is the town over here, and we will be calling it quits after a very small quest. Which is actually one of the more interesting ones, because we are to lure crabs into traps, basically. And that's all that's required. These crabs are literally immune to damage. You cannot hurt them. So it's forcing you to learn how to aggro an enemy. Now, these are red enemies, so they will obviously attract right to you, but they don't take damage. So you have to learn how to aggro them rather than just straight up killing them. You'll get a better idea in a couple of seconds. Of course, I can choose this first one because it's right next to the trap. The better idea is this one over here. You want to get them close to the trap so that you can grab them. That is actually a very interesting way to learn the mechanics of aggroing. And I'm very glad that they put it in, but I'm also very sad that they weren't able to figure out another way of doing it with the other races' starting areas. Now, unfortunately, this guy is going to be a bit of an idiot and not let us in. I suppose it is his prerogative. I mean, he is supposed to be guarding the area.
Strength in numbers.
Okay. Thank you. I've actually never gotten on the inside of there, so I don't even know if they've modeled the inside. Or if they've just made it look pretty. I'll see you guys next time. This is Stomping Llama. Signing out.